Hello. So I've decided I'm going to do a video about MBTI and my personality type, which is INFJ. So I'm not experienced at doing videos, so this might turn out a bit weird. But for those that are kind of curious to see how a inexperienced person makes a video, then this will be a good opportunity. So I've not had a plan about what I'm going to talk about. I think I'm just generally going to talk about MBTI and my experiences with it as an INFJ, and I'll try not to go on for too long on the subject, or you will get bored to death of me. So first is kind of how I came to the conclusion that I'm INFJ. There was kind of some resistance to me classifying myself as INFJ, simply because the type is unusual. I kind of had a think, and when first learning about MBTI, and I thought the type that I am most likely to be would be the most common type, because most people would be the most common type by definition. And sort of slowly over time, when I was doing my research trying to classify myself, it was becoming more and more evident that I wasn't a more common type. I was a more unusual type, and so I was requiring more and more evidence. Like the more unusual and outrageous a claim is, the more evidence I want to see for it. So when looking at MBTI, I came to the conclusion that the only real way to use it, the only real way to classify, is to look at the cognitive functions. I've noticed in particular with introverts, for example, the stereotypical distinction between P and J, there's like the messy and the organised, is not very prominent. I think it's more visible in extroverts, but for introverts it's not. So that really kind of brings the cognitive functions in as the only real way to get it done. And the cognitive functions for a INFJ are introverted intuition, extroverted feeling, introverted thinking, and extroverted sensing. And it's really, I'd say really the more dominant functions that are noticed, the less dominant functions barely play a role. I'd say that kind of as you go down the function list, the impact that each function has on the personality at least halves. It could quarter. So the effect that FE has on me is much less than half the effect that NI has on me, for example. At least that's kind of how I've viewed it and how I've seen it working. So NI is a very interesting function. It sort of means I naturally create a model of the world, or a model of a situation, or a model of a person inside my head. So I can kind of get this well, I guess it's intuition about a person from the sort of ideas that I might have in my head. Of course, a lot of the things in my head might not actually be true, but a lot of them will be. And I'm very surprised by kind of how often I will think that something's true, but I know that I don't have any evidence or any rational reason to really justify what I might think, yet I found out that often I'm right, often what I think happens to come true, which is it's something I've had to learn to trust, because often it's tempting to kind of say, okay, let's look at this rationally. Can I justify this feeling? Can I justify what I think? And if not, maybe it's not true. But I've had to learn to trust my intuition and to trust that I can. It's a strength, I think. I guess it could be a weakness if I happen to think something that's not true. But I try to just stay on top of it, and I try to stay in control so I don't end up going crazy and joining a cult or starting a cult or anything like that. So that is introverted intuition. There's extroverted feeling, which I kind of have noticed. In that I'm kind of very much an introvert. I'd say that's like the strongest personality trait I have is being an introvert, as you might be able to tell by my ability to create a video. But I have noticed that if I'm in a situation that requires it, for at least for a limited time while I have energy for it, I can kind of adapt, and I can do what is socially required of me in a situation. I kind of have a good sense of what I need to do. I remember a while ago I met up with an ENTP, and they were kind of surprised at how I kind of handled meeting up and how I handled the social side of things. They said they thought I was extroverted at first, but then once we'd kind of got comfortable and talking, they realised I was just doing what was expected. Because they came to visit, so I was playing the role of host. And so the next function is introverted thinking, which I don't think plays a real major role, because it's the third function. But I think it does have some kind of effect on how I think, on how I behave, on how I look at ideas. I mean, I can tell, for example, that I'm more of a TI user than a TE user, for example. When I read the two descriptions, I can certainly tell that one is more me and the other is less me. And the fourth function, SE, is kind of hard to say how much or whether or not I even use the function. There is always a temptation. I found that when you kind of read something and it says, oh, you know, this is a function you use, that you will then have like a confirmation bias and try to justify what you've read and kind of try to support it. So I have noticed myself say, oh, I'm doing such and such, maybe that is SE, but I kind of set the bar for evidence quite high, because I'm aware that I will have confirmation bias, and unless I'm sort of absolutely sure, then I won't attribute anything to SE, and so far I haven't. So I guess it's there as the fourth function, but I'm not willing to go out and claim, oh, I use it. And so that would be a brief overview of the type. So again, I guess on the subject of confirmation bias, I've noticed a lot in the MBTI community that people will tend to look at their personality type. They will work it out. They will look at it, and then they will feel the need to fit the stereotype, like they're trying to like justify their membership of a group. I guess it's a bit like if you support a sports team, then you go out of your way to become a part of the fan base of the sports team. You might wear their colours, or I don't know. I don't support a sports team, so it's a very bad example for me to use. But I think the general idea is there that someone might say, for example, oh, I'm ENTP, therefore I'm going to act like the ENTP stereotype. I'm going to fit in. I'm going to be part of my team. And I think really MBTI isn't about grouping people that way. I think the best possible way to be your personality type is to just be yourself and to not worry about how it's represented, because it represents you. So if you are yourself, then that's kind of all that's required. The types, it's not up to people to conform to the types and for the people to conform to the descriptions. It's the other way around. It's up to the descriptions to conform to the people. Humans are humans. There are, what, 7.1 billion of us, and we are what we are. The descriptions are then just applied to what's already existing, rather than the other way around. Hopefully I've explained what I mean. And so if this video is a bit messy, I've done it all in one take. That might be because I'm too lazy to edit it, but I will say it's because I want to give an accurate representation of what an INFJ is like. So I will justify my laziness that way. Anyway, if you have made it to the end, how long is it? Oh, it's like, 13 is an unlucky number. It can't be 13 minutes. We will have a moment of silence to extend it a few seconds beyond such an unlucky number. So if you would like to have a moment to just, or maybe I should talk about something else. I guess I'm doing a reasonable job at the moment of wasting time. Okay, that's like, it's gone over 13 minutes. We're okay. I'll try not to be superstitious. I actually don't think 13 is an unlucky number. It's just I'm kind of aware of the cultural context of the number. I'm kind of aware, because I noticed like a lot of hotels don't have room numbers ending in 13. So like the third floor you'll have like 310, 311, 312, then it'll jump to 314. And then also if it's like a large hotel, the room 666 will also be missing. So I guess it's just something I notice. Though I don't have any belief that 13 is unlucky. Just to clarify. Oh, anyway, thanks for watching. Bye bye.